goal. The goal did not change. The plan never changed. The vision never changed. We only look for a better way and a smarter way to achieve our goals. And that is what we did. And so if you're going to want to even understand how to leverage long-term investment in agriculture and reap from that system, then you need to understand that nothing is coincidental in the agricultural sector. Everything is deliberate. And except you're deliberate about many things, you'll be open to chances. You're going to be open to shock waves. You're going to be open to a lot of unpleasant experiences in the farming sector. And that is why we are trying our best to make sure that we communicate the best way possible what we expect. So now, without any waste of time, the essence of farming. What is the essence of farming? The essence of farming is producing food for people to eat, right? Making sure that people are able to feed themselves, are able to survive. That's the essence of farming. If you're farming and people are not, their life is not getting better by finding food to eat, then you're not really taking care of the essence of farming. And that is what farming is in its full essence. Every other things are just bits and parts. And that is what matters the most. So now with that essence, now you knowing that as a summary, I don't want to go into this. University and secondary school have taught us what agriculture actually meant in definition of farming is as a defined word. Now, but I've just told you the essence, that the importance of why it is even happening at all. Now, the business of agriculture. Now, the business of agriculture means that how you're leveraging the whole sector to make revenue, to build a future, and to become wealthy. Now, that's the business of agriculture, not farming. Agriculture is bigger than farming. Farming, fishery, aquaculture, many things, agri-logistics, agri-finance, all those things are all under agriculture. Now, how you leverage the entire sector and pick your side net and leverage it for business, it is what the business of agriculture is all about. For you to have a long-term vision, a short-term goal and a long-term goal is hinged on the business of agriculture. What niche of the sector have you positioned yourself into? These are things that determine the business of the sector. If you don't do that, then you typically will not even understand what you are supposed to get from that place. There's some business of agriculture that are targeted for short term, and there are some that you cannot reap anything in the short term. It is a long term thing. And when you start mixing them, you start getting frustrated. And that's why knowledge is very important to anyone that is going to either want to set up his own farm or want to join someone else and key into someone else's vision. That knowledge is indispensable. And that is why we are actually sharing it, because we want you to join either this project of providing food for people as someone that is knowledgeable and well informed. And that is what we are doing here. So you need to understand what you're going into and then use it to now understand, are you going for short term or you're going there for long term? But today's webinar is about long term. So I'm going to focus more on what business in agriculture can yield long-term investment for you. And I'm talking about just only farming, as the case may be. Of course, some of you may expect that, of course, we're going to focus on what we do. Of course, while we've introduced that to you, I don't need to focus on that anymore. The guys before me have done that. They've told you what we do, and that's enough. I, on my own now, will be helping you to understand that there are other parts of agriculture where you can leverage long-term investments, where you can actually go into it and set up yourself for the future of benefits. Our own way is just one out of many ways, many uncountable ways. Agriculture is one sector that has almost every sector in it, a level of every sector in it. And once you understand that, you'll be well equipped to go forward. So now, the type of agricultural businesses you want to consider. Now, agriculture has what they call value chain, like every other industry processes. There's a clear-cut process from the beginning of something to the end of something, and it moves from one quarters to another. And agriculture is no different. We've got quarters where these things move part time. Now, the value chain starts from the production down to when it gets to the mouth of the farmer. Everything that happens in between when a product is cultivated in the field and to the point where someone is eating it in one part of the world. Everything that happens in between are processes logged up in the value chain. And so, for example, there is the production phase of every commodity. After the production, even in the manufacturing industry, there's a production phase for it, and then there's the in between processes from production to processing, which is the logistics, which is the management, which is the supply chain. All of the things are under between that production and processing. So agriculture has all of that, and every part of it can be played upon. Now, the farming, coming about production, which is the farming itself, where the major farming is, which is the cultivation of the commodity. Now, you need to understand that you are just one in many people that is producing that product. One, you have to think about how far you want that to go. And once you can think how far you want that production to go, you don't start thinking and saying 1 acre. If you're thinking 1 acre production in agriculture, as a producer, it's okay to start with 1 acre. But you have to have plan in 5 years or 2 to 5 years where that 1 acre is going to become 5 to 10 acres, particularly if you're going for long-term investments. Now, what are the kind of long-term investment that you can explore in farming? We have jatropha, we've got castor, we've got shea butter, we've got walnuts, we've got almond, we've got cashew, we've got oil palm, we've got cocoa, yes, we've got rubber, and a host of banana tree, right? Now we've got a host of them, citrus, mango. These are all long-term inclined commodity. And if you are in the West, you need to consider almost everything. Like these are options. The land in the West is, or South generally, is well suited for such. It's well suited for long-term projects in terms of farming. Why? The road itself is, the sand itself supports early grass growth. And these things are reasons why you want to consider long-term farming in agriculture. Now, outside that, if you're in the north, you're not disenfranchised as well. You see, shea butter grows in Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the largest producers of shea butter in Nigeria, right? You've got something called tamarind, which is for my northern friend Samia. I had a lot of it while I was in school. Tamarind is an example of long-term crop you can cultivate in the north. So some side of some far north like Sokoto and Yobe, some part of it can actually produce dates. I know you guys buy dates. I've forgotten Dubino. I think that's the Hausa term for it. Yes, they can produce dates, and dates is a very, very lucrative commodity in the market, right? So we are not disenfranchised at Dabino. Thank you. That's the pronoun, the right pronunciation for the dates in Hausa. So of course you won't be disenfranchised from going into long-term investment, and these things are things that reward you annually for a long time. So once you go into that farming, one of the things you want to understand in end perennial farming is that you want to have a good think about your management before you even commence any project on perennial farming. Think about management, because that product is supposed to last years. Then you want to know that your management procedures and plans and strategization goes for years. What happens if the workers you got, you lose them? What happens if the workers you got become the one that's stealing from you? How do you orientate your staff? What is the measure you're putting there? How much are you likely to spend before that product reach commercial harvest? Because all of the products I just mentioned does not achieve commercial harvest in the first year of harvest. They achieve commercial harvest even afterwards. So what do you do when that product does not achieve commercial harvest in, let's say, 3 years, 4, 5 years? What is your plan? Would you be stranded in the middle of this kind of thing? And you don't want to be stranded. And that's where frustration comes in for a lot of people. And that is why you need to have that mind in advance. It guides you, it helps you, it puts you to be focused. And that is farming, out of the value chain, right? Farming, production, that is how it goes. And those are examples of long-term projects you could pick from that place and succeed from. Now, talking about processing, right? Now, of course, this part starts when the commodities to your gates, your production gates. Now, when you get to your production gates, the processing has commenced for you, right? You pay the people that bring the logistics, or they might be your own employment. Now, how much do you need to start this processing as a business arm? What is required of you to make it work? Now, who will be your suppliers? It's very key you have all these answers beforehand. Now, processing is wired. It can never be a short-term opportunity. It always must be long-term. Because the money in buying the equipment, the facility, building, the land, all those things are fixed capital. So there's no way you can even do it. You can't do short term with processing. It has to be the long term. Of course, DUFMA have been having partnership in place to ensure that we can start processing our own cashew on before 2025, right? Where we don't have to sell to external members or external parties, and then we can process it on the first iteration and send over to countries in Europe that actually bypass us to go to Asia to buy it. Right now, most of the African cashew are currently being purchased on the first production level from India and Vietnam. So, of course, trying to make ourselves sufficient enough to do that direct marketing. But that is because that plan has been in ground since 2020. And we know it's 2025, so we know what we need to put in place to get to that place and not fuck up. So because of that, as a person, you need to have those plans. Any money you want to put into processing in agriculture, it could be for chip making, it could be for flour making, it could equally be for, let's say, oil making. That's to make granite oil as opposed to vegetable oil, as opposed to red oil, right? You could also want to go into these dates. You want to put them, you want to sack them up, you want to put them in polythene nylon and send to supermarkets. Of course, there are many other things you could think about, but the first thing is set down and calculate your cost for setting up a processing plant. It's not cheap. And once you understand how much, realistic with your market, can your market deliver? As a processor, you likely will be selling at a little bit cost price. And that's the truth. As a processor, you're going to be selling a little bit about cost price. Would that favor you? How long are you going to sell before you actually break even and to manage? And because of the processing work, you need to calculate your labor, your employees, because that is going to be another issue. You see, Nigeria is having exodus of talents. You can bring someone and the person will just plan and say that I'm going to use only 2 years in your company, 1 year in your company, to gather the money enough to jackpot. So what happens when you are faced with these challenges? How do you restaff? Because one thing about processing is labor is the lifeline of processing. Labor is the lifeline of processing. You can't do without them. So because of that, you want to put plan, but it is a long-term investment that if done well, in 10 years' time, 5-10 years' time, you would definitely be smiling a whole lot. Now, the farm to fork processes, you can always ensure that you serve as an intermediary. And this is where I'm going to come on the logistics and services in agriculture. That's another part where you can get a lot of money from as well. Some people would have seen that Relief made the news last year as one of the agricultural companies that got funded in millions of dollars. What they try to do is they try to ensure that there's the farm to fork processes of oil palm. They entered into the value chain, and their goal is to ensure that they solve the problem from the farming of oil palm down to the fork processes where people eat it, where you use it for different meals in their houses. So, and now they are able to achieve it only for a particular commodity, oil palm. And that helped them become successful enough for international companies to want to invest in them. And once you understand that, you can go into logistics. You can say, okay, I will only tie into logistics and solve these things for logistics alone. That means you're going to partner and you take them to the next places for a fee. You're going to decide to want to automate the processes by building a app or website that allows your client to follow through with the progress or track whatever it is you're moving. Now, this is logistics. You can charge for that. As a matter of fact, fact has it that in the agricultural sector of Nigeria, logistics and marketing account for 50% of the whole cost of what you eat as a food. The marketing process, which involve the middlemen and the rest, and logistics account for more than 50% of the price of what you bought from the market today or what you're eating today. And once you understand that, you would be able to understand that that is a place where you can key in. Of course, you can buy only one truck and just target one niche. Vegetables, I can say that easily. In Ikorodu, vegetables live in Ikorodu every day during the rainy season. Even during dry season, I can tell you every week. So you can position your truck there to serve those vegetable buyers, and you can easily find them. It's not a big deal. Market is something that you can easily do, and if you don't even know how to go about market penetration, you can always reach out to the or Department of DUFMA or of DUFMA. They will be able to help you market penetration. You can always know one who actually use this truck, offer them a discount that is not common. Once you offer them discount that is not common, then of course they call you the next time they have a good. I won't lie to you. If you come to logistics side of agriculture, the first 1 month you may be looking for job to do. I will tell you this as a categorical fact that after 1 month or 2 months, if you're active enough, you yet, and that's how agriculture work. And of course, we are there to help you link up. If you even want to go into that part, you can invest in this stuff. We'll help you link up, and you can pick and drop as you see fit. Now, there's a part perhaps. I'll link the farmers up with direct producers. Say that's you may not even have truck yourself. You may build a platform that will allow those that have truck to interface with those that that the goal is for long term. All you are getting from this thing is operating cost. You target the first 1 2 years operating cost to help you move. And with that, you are able to tie up your goal for a future of agriculture. Hello? Eh, hello. Ẹ máa bọ̀ tá a déwájú géètì ẹ̀kọ́ lẹ́kùn. I'm so sorry, please. I'm currently at the farm, so I'm trying to do this call at the same time with trying to be on the farm. So DUFMA has got a talk coming up for his clients, and I have to also be on the farm to oversee operations like that. So excuse me for the noise and the break in communication. But getting back to what we're discussing on the short term, if you're going to agricultural business, I want to read from the sector and how to choose where you want to go in sector. Look at your strengths, because I've given you all the tips on that, right? On what you can do to gain from in the long run, right? Look at your strengths. Always quantify your strengths. You can't do more than yourself. I want to understand your strengths. Now, try to inculcate patience, which is something that is severely lacking in general Nigerian space. I won't lie. Some people have it, but not a lot of people have it, right? Not a lot of people knows how to plant and wait for the seed to grow enough to reap harvest. And I don't blame them. The economy is conditioning people's mind in a certain way to think in a certain way in the agricultural sector. So basically, look at your strengths, look at what you can wait for, look at what you can manage. And by doing that, you definitely will be able to go into the agricultural sector and come out with a smile. Now, why has DUFMA decided to go into perennial projects largely? Of course, I've said that it's something that we've sat down to calculate and plan extensively. It's not just coincidence that got us there, right? Just like we do, by explaining how we achieved our model, maybe you can use that to craft your own model, right? So DUFMA came out with the mind to even bring external clients to its projects. There was no plan in the early phase to bring external clients into its projects. DUFMA wanted to handle its project 100% by itself. But we got an opportunity to buy more land than and we felt like, okay, let's buy that land. So we got 150 acres. Wonderful. It was a good buy. We wanted something less, but we got it for a better offer, and then we got everything. And at that point, we want to start our operations, but we don't have enough to develop the 150 acres. And that's how we started streaming out clients that have interest in perennial projects like cashew and plantain. And why do we select that kind of client? It's simple. It's because whoever understand how cashew work, we naturally have patience. So all we just need to do is help them understand our model of operation that will ensure that they are carried along. And so when we did that choice of cashew streamlined our offers, streamlined our clients, gave us options for certain kind of people to come into our packages. And then we told them that, of course, when you come in, you're able to get A, B, C. And we show that we have partners that can be verifiable. And of course, we show our track history. So if you want to go into any project, you want to do research. You want to do projects that would anchor and resonate with the overall goal you have in mind. And that's how DUFMA is able to achieve its own goal. Of course, besides the fact that we studied agriculture in the university, I had my internship with Nigerian exports, and I particularly worked in the product department where agricultural export is done. So besides all of that experience for me, then I became practical. We did castor farming, which is a very, very lucrative sector as well. We did castor farming. We talked that we did a little bit about jatropha, but we didn't do so much. We didn't do commercial production of it as well. And then we went into documenting database of cashew farmers in Southwest and North Central. So you can see that we have track history that actually we did to get where we are. Build on that, and you're able to leverage long-term growth. Now, if you're someone that wants to start your own firm, get land first. Why you're thinking, if you're certain that you're going into perennial cash crop, right? Get your land. Once you get your land, then start planning. Because one thing is that land is going to increase. If you take too long planning, the land will increase while you're planning, and it's not going to favor you. It definitely would not favor you. So don't plan for too long. If you're certain that you're going to go into perennial project eventually, while you're thinking buy land, and then start thinking how you want to take the plan forward. The land will appreciate in value. If you not say that you don't want land anymore, you can sell the land and gain better. We have that kind of products with us. We call it farmland banking, right? Where we buy land with clients' fund, and then we sell it to our own clients after a year, and then get higher value and pay the person that bought the land initially. So we have that conversation. You too can do it as well. There's no diplomacy there. All you just need to do is have principles and business processes, and you can do anything with it typically. So now you start the farm yourself, which is beautiful. You have the land, then you look, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to do oil palm? Do you want to do cashew? Do you want to do plantain? Now, after, as I've said early stage, you calculate what are the processes that you will need to put in place. Workers, annual workers, how are you going to get them? How are you going to pay them? Of course, we expect that you're going to be making money from somewhere and plowing into the system, and you're going to be feeding it till it's ready to feed you back. So, of course, where would that money be coming from? How consistent can that money be? You want to ask yourself. And after you've done that, then you need, how will I get everything this farm needs in place? Like building a farmhouse for them, or renting a farmhouse for them somewhere close by. How you want to feed them? Now, your equipment as well, you need to buy them. What are the equipment you're going to need? So, now, all of this will help you understand what the total cost you're incurring is, so that when you want to start expecting profits, you know how much you want to lay as expectations. Now, that is what we do as regarding coming to farm. Now, if you now want to, someone asks you to come and invest, maybe DUFMA asks you to come and pay some money for a farm, the question you want to ask is, what kind of investment is it? You want to know what kind of investment you are going into. Our own is not typically a lazy investment. You can't be a DUFMA client and be lazy. It's not even allowed, right? Because the idea is that land, we sell it to you, so that land is just 100%. So, two, we set up the farm for you based on your money. We manage it with your money. We don't charge you for all of those processes. At the end of the day, we buy your harvest, right? That is our own arrangement. You have to decide what arrangement you want to have. Or if anybody has to come and invest, you need to ask them what arrangement they have and find a way to verify the arrangement. If you can, we always tell our clients to come on our door or go to our farm on their own and do verification. That is the verification places we've put in place for our clients. If you want to do with external members, ask them what are the verifiable operations you can take to verify their products. Why I'm saying this is because I'm not trying to make you feel that it has to be with DUFMA, you have to do business with. That is not entirely necessary. Idea is you're growing your wealth. And it doesn't matter whether it's with us or but to understand how long-term investment building works. So we have to have how to verify the operations, how to verify the activities, and move forward. You need to understand that when can your gains start coming in? And Mr. Adeniyi said earlier that any farm telling you that there is no challenges is only lying to you. Of course, as any logical business person, there are always challenges. How you solve it is what is paramount. And once that can be solved, everything is clear. Interest rate, this is the iron about interest rates. Because of the economy, it has fueled a lot of greed for a lot of Nigerians, and a lot of Nigerians want to reap higher than they can sow. They want to plant 2 corn and they want to get 30 harvests. I don't know how to explain more than that. That's how Nigerians are now, right? They want to plant only 1 corn and get 2,000 corns in returns. So that's how Nigeria have now been conditioned to think or act, and because of that, it's not a good way for a lot of people. Now, about the interest rates, how do you see investment interest rate that should get you scared? It's simple. If someone is promising you above 30 to 50%, you need to understand 2 things. One, it is risky, particularly if you don't own the farm. If you own the farm, then probably maybe it's not risky. If you own the farm and you're able to economize on your operations, you're able to watch every operation and ensure that it does not consume more than it has or it ought to consume. I won't lie to you, it's possible you can make 40% return in a year. Now, get it straight, it is called return. It is not called capital. It's not return on capital. I use the word return. So it's a return on investment, it's not a return on capital. Because your capital break even mean a point where you can actually earn all the money that you invested into it and start earning even more than that. In perennial project, irrigation equipment, which costs almost 550 to 650,000 right now per acre, right? You're going to want to build a farmhouse or rent a farmhouse. You're going to want to buy equipment for day-to-day operations, right? You're going to want to pay laborers. Now, of course, pay labor is operating cost. You see those first three things are capital projects. You're going to want to do borehole. That's capital projects. All of these things, the farm does not care that you're doing them. Although they are important to the farm, but the farm does not care you're doing them. And you would not break even on them in the first year, even if you're doing a crop product that's going to yield after the first year. So, of course, all you can get is a payment on top of it. That payment now, you can start to plow it back in. You can start to enjoy from it going forward. But you're not going to have 100% of what you've placed in that first year. And that's why anybody saying that he's going to give you 50% return on investment. It means if you're investing 1 million, is giving 500,000 from it. The question you ask yourself is, what will that person gain? I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm asking that what will that person, what will be the gain of that person? Because that person also that is helping you achieve that result has to gain something. Let's say if you're the owner of your farm and you say you're projecting 40% return after a year, it's almost possible, or even possible in some cases, if you're a professional farmer who knows where and where not to spend and know how to economize money. But if you're not doing it yourself, you're giving it to third party, you should always ask, what is your gain? That question is very important. So you can be able to earn the maximum from any operation. And so once that is in place and you know all of that, you cannot be duped on any project anymore. And that is the mind about long-term investments. Well, the plan is to wrap up this meeting and not go too long. I've been able to explain what you need to have in mind, what you need to know when selecting a long-term investment in agriculture. How do you determine what best kind of agricultural investment for long-term profit? I have just given you the fact that you will go into the production, in which case you consider things like the cashew, plantain, oil palm, tamarind, dates farming. I've mentioned extensive. Nigeria can do all of the things I've mentioned, right? Now, I talked about the processing as well, where you can go into placing any of the things I've mentioned into a refined product, right? A product that is worthy of the markets. After you've done that, I do think that that's a long-term investment. It's going to bring you returns on the long time, and it will even serve as a posterity well managed for your children and family. Now, I also talked about being involved in the processes from the farm to the fork on the table, right? Now, I explained that the logistics part of it, the service part of it, yes, even helping people to sell this product is a service as well. All of these things are ways you can key in and earn profit from the agricultural sector. All you need is plan. However, I must state that it's not all operations in the agricultural sector you can do from afar. It's not all projects in the agricultural sector you can do from afar. Get that very clear. There are some things that you will need to resign where you are to do it, or you may need to totally just be jobless to achieve them, right? You must give all your time 100% to it. And there are some things that you don't need to quit your job before you can do. As I said, check your strengths. I explained that very early on. Check your strengths, check your person. What can you afford? What can you manage? What can you do? What is unique to you? And this would help you determine where you're going. I hope with all of this, you've been able to get the picture of what kind of investment works for you and that can help you achieve your long-term goal and results. With DUFMA, we know what we are doing. We are into perennial cash crop. We are doing it the best way we know how to do it. We are partnering with the right names and the right companies to make results happen. We are not waiting to have the harvest. We are doing it even before the harvest comes out, and that is how we are doing it. And to make sure that we have validity of all of these things, we send video out, we send pictures out, and we do tour consistently to show people what is going on in our project. And that's what DUFMA is doing. And you can also do something from your own quota, directly or indirectly. I think with this, I've been able to touch down on the core of this meeting. More webinars are coming. We have a webinar tomorrow. Mr. Ken will be talking about some other key parts of agriculture. You see, one of agriculture is learn and learn and learn. Don't learn and go and practicalize without being perfect in it, but learn and take steps as you're learning. Don't just allow knowledge sit dormant in your mind. Take action. Action propels on that thing. And if you ever have a need of a partner to work alongside with while you're on this journey, DUFMA is there. If you check the call messages, you will see some announcement there. Of course, our numbers you can reach out to. Go there, copy them down. They are very, very important. Before the call is over, copy those numbers down and then reach out to us. We're always eager to help you, right? Of course, there's always something in it for us. Nobody don't think it's free in Freetown. There's something in it for us, and I won't lie about that. So there's no point to saying that there's nothing in it for us. There's something in it for us. There's always something in it for you as well. All you just need to do is be realistic about what you're saying, right? One of my mentor reached out to me a couple of days ago and told me we want to get 1,000 acres of land. Of course, we know how much work is possible there, and we're going to help him get it. But then I like how he responded. He told us that, Nee, what are you going to gain from this? I told him, I said, you're my mentor. We'll talk about that once we find the land. Let's get the land first. So we got the land, and now we are about to go into the negotiation of it proper. But the good news is, he did not just say because he's my mentor, he will just get it for free. No, he brought it up early. What are you gaining from it? And that is how it is on the larger scale of it. On the top of things, in the higher space, there's always a question of what will you gain from it. And once you know how to walk along that line, then you're ready to build a partnership wealth, a wealth that comes from partnership. And that is how it works basically. But with that said, I think I've touched many things. Do you have questions? Put them in the call messages. If you have questions, type them in the call messages. And if you want to unmute, the moderator will explain how you can unmute and ask your questions. Thank you so much for listening to this webinar from my quarters. I'm very grateful that your presence is here. And I want to appreciate everyone equally. If I should start mentioning specific names, we won't live there. So I'm grateful for everyone I can see, current clients and existing clients and new clients and prospective clients and knowledge gatherers. Everyone, I appreciate you all. Thank you. So I guess Deji or Sean Wando, I don't know. Any one of them, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeniyi, for that. I hope we've been able to learn as much as we can. So this is time for Q&A. If you have any questions, can you unmute yourself and ask, or you probably leave it in the in-call so we can attend to it. Okay, while I'm waiting for that, you can see some messages in the in-call. I want you to take note of that. And for as many that really want to visit our office, DUFMA office is located at number 1 Longo Street off Okoro Road, Abulegba, Lagos. So you can always find your way down to the office. We are always willing and ready to have you in our office and talk about whatever it is you want us to help you with. So any other questions? Do you have questions? Okay. Maybe I should ask you so that you can leave your comments on the chat box. Were you able to learn one or two things from the webinar? Did you enjoy it? If it's a yes, can you just type that on the chat box so that we can see? Yes, the session is recorded. And yes, you will be getting a link to it on our social platforms and on YouTube so that you can follow up with what has been discussed. Is that okay? Okay, so while I await more questions. Okay, just reach out to any of the contacts you saw on the chat box, then let me call Mr. Adeniyi. There's a question in the chat box asking how can someone who is interested in partnership go about it. So, yes.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Is that Mr. Dekola?
Yes, it's Mr. Dekola. Good morning, Mr.
Of course, I can hear you.
And thank you, Mr. Adeniyi. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Adeniyi, for the lecture, sir. Thank you so much. I want to talk about partnership because I call one of your colleagues, Mrs. Anna. Yeah, what I want to talk about is that I'm into this, but I'm also have some clients too. But just because I'm limited to some areas of this, and I'm looking for a way and a group or company like this that I can partner with. I don't know. how will I go if I have to partner with you people, sir?
All right. Mr. Adekola, thank you for your question. The question I would like to ask back before answering that question is, you say you're equally into um, farming. Exactly what farm? Is it cashew? Is it plantain farming? What exactly? Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes. What exactly are
Then
you into?
also livestock too.
What kind of livestock?
Yes, like poultry,
All right.
turkey, then cow, then ram and goat, and
Wonderful.
so on.
So, if I get you very well, you want us to look at the form of partnership, and
Yes.
what are your expectations in that partnership?
Well, I will on that. Let me get back to my people because I'm not only one in this. I'm the lead operator there, but I think I will need to meet others to talk how we can go about it because I don't. I wanted to discuss this earlier before today, but just because your colleague in question is that I mentioned the other time is she's not getting back to me before today, so that's why I think maybe we can. If I can reach you directly, I can talk to you and give you feedback on that, sir.
No problem. What will happen is I'm typing my number right now,
Okay, sir.
or probably my official business line. So what will happen is typically I would, of course, the head of farm business would typically reach out to you. To be
Okay,
honest,
sir.
head of farm business will typically reach out to you, but at the
Yes,
same
sir.
time, I need to establish communication with you to understand where your mind, particularly about all of this. And once I understand your mind, I know how to direct the head of farm business to manage communications with you typically.
All
So
right.
this is like I don't usually receive call on the line. To be honest,
Okay,
I just
sir.
really take care of communications there. And so I think you can always leverage that. And for any other person in that same shoe, they can equally do the same. Now,
All right.
but you can also join our webinar community. It's very important you can join our webinar community. It's you can always learn there a lot of things as well. We post
All right.
content here that may be useful, and we also post our webinar on the place as well. My number is there. You can save it. It's +14437903925. Kindly save it and you can communicate with me there. If you want to call my Nigerian line, I'm also putting my Nigerian line there. You can
Okay,
always
sir.
reach out. You can always also call that line as well. The head of farm business have equally left his line there as well. You
Okay,
can
sir.
always reach out to him too as well in the Laura's call because he's the one heading that department, and it's very very key. By you reaching out to him after the conversation that we have, he will be able to follow up with you. Now, outside that, I think I've been able to answer your question. I think Mr. Fadairo consultant asked the question on that how can someone who is interested interested in a partnership go about it. For that
All
right
right.
here, yeah, thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Adekola.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Ira,
Thank you, sir.
it's for that Iro. Meanwhile, Mr. Aziz, yes, you can. They posted a webinar link for you to join. You can join that. I'm Mr. Daniel. Yes, Mr. Daniel Sasono. Yes, I don't want to call that wrong. You can, of course. I believe you're in a landowners clients WhatsApp group. Of course, they're going to post the recording there, and you can always reach out to Mr. Adeniyi Shoremi to ask for the recording after the session. It may take probably a day or two before it comes up on YouTube, but then they will send you a copy of the recording. Mr. Fadairo, if you're there, you can of course chat me through my number there, or you could always chat Mr. Adeniyi Shoremi as well to get the updates information you need to be able to partner into the project. It's very very important that you communicate with the said names. I think that's all for my quote. Stadilu Balayinka, can you take over the question and answer again?
Okay. I can see a message from Mr. Shola Fagon. Yes, well, it's one step at a time, but I don't want to believe as far as you're in Ogun State, you should be able to, at least for now, join whatever it is we are doing in Ogun because you don't want to wait till it gets to your street or your corners before you can jump on it. This opportunity is something you can, join right now and, of course, start benefiting from it. So we are also trying to expand, but of course, our expansion comes one after the other. So, are there any other questions before we close up? And while I'm addressing that, this is actually a call, to for you to understand and know that there is wealth that is being daily built in the agricultural sector, and of course, you don't want to be behind on that. And for as many of you, probably you are experiencing a challenge with your farm or the other. Challenges are not dead sentence. Is that okay? Just like Mr. Nii said, we've had our own fair share managing these farms or managing some farms at some point or the other. But how do you actually find your way around it? How do you raise yourself up? How do you, rethink or change your thought pattern process, improve your capacity to solve these things? This is what matters. Is that okay? And let me also use this moment to remind you that whatever challenge you have, you can always talk to us at DUFMA, then we can always walk you through how to solve them. So, if I don't have any other questions, I think I'll be handing over to Mr. Adeniyi Shoremi to close the webinar.
Awesome. That's what I can say. Before we go on to close today's meeting, someone just left a very crucial question, and the question goes like this: has there been any conversation around farm security? We know the sector is devoured by incidents. Okay, incidents of encroaches by elders, local land grabbers, etc. Is there a framework for managing this? Yes. Of course, welcome the CEO back to give you a very clear, answer for that. Sir, I used to be with us.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
All right, thank you.
As regards security, that's a topic for another day. I would, Mr. Deji, kindly ensure that we have a webinar apportioned in our schedule for security, farm security management, and perfection, please. I think the questions have been coming up recurrently. We've been answering it in many of our webinars, but consider the fact that there's no webinar that goes by without this question coming up. I think we should do a webinar about it, definitely. Of course, our farms, we've not had any security issues before, and it's not coincidental, right? You see, there are different forms of security that you put on farm. There's human security, there's technology security, and there's the local enforcement security that you put in your farm. All the systems are quite very important. It's very, very key. For example, you want to carry the farmers, you want to carry the law enforcement agents along. You want to carry what they call the local olode. You have the local olodes in your land. You want to carry them along. You want to have them for your farm. It's normal. Don't be greedy. Share the money. That's why I said that you're going to spend projects. You only know what the future holds for you. Don't be scared to spend money on your security, because if your farm is destroyed, then all your investment is lost after all. So be willing to want to invest in that system and grow that system. So of course, outside that as well, CCTV2, please install it. If you can't do the cloud inclined CCTV, then do the non-cloud inclined one, right? Where you have a room in your farm that all of them is captured in, right? It's very, very important. Also, put in a lot of alarm system in your farm. There are simple alarm systems that you can put in strategic locations that once people start walking around your farm indecently, it will let you know that people are in your farm, right? And of course, because your workers know where these places are, you know that whoever is working that place and is tripping alarm is largely an intruder. Now that part is there as well. You also want to make sure that you build house for your farmers inside your farm. That's why we usually tell people that if your target is, if you're going to farm setup, and it's okay to start with 1 acre, but of course you can't stay there. That's why I will tell you, when we speak to you, it's not all projects. I need to put this disclaimer out there. To be honest, it's not all project that we accept, even our farm business. The fact that you have 1 acre and you have your money to develop 1 acre and you have a sufficient money, we can still turn that offer down. That is DUFMA for you, right? We usually look at the prospect of partnering because we usually spend even part of our money in many partnership, right? We incur personal cost in many partnership, and the reason is not rocket science. We know we're going to gain in the future of that partnership, so we don't usually get scared of sometimes plowing our money or loaning even the farm money ahead of time. So if your project is 1 acre, but you don't have a good plan to grow your farm project and to withstand challenges that come with farming, we may reject your offer. And what I'm saying is because security comes at the costs, right? Human cost, labor cost, technology cost, and many other costs. If you don't do it, now before it has not really been a problem in the agricultural sector, you can put minimum security and not have issues. But now you must put it. You must calculate that cost to your money because perennial investment is costly. I won't lie to you. Of course, let me just give you the maths. You want to go into cashew farming, right? You get on 2 acres of farm or 1 acre of farm, and then you plant it, right? You get annual laborers. Annual laborers right now cost 400,000 with their feeding annually. You need to rent house and buy things in their house. Let's say that costs 200,000, 400,000, right? Now you want to do irrigation, so that's make sure that you don't predispose your commodity to failure. You take 550,000 to do irrigation on 1 acre, right? That's 1.1 million already, right? After you're not done with that, now you have to now buy herbicide and all the pesticide you need to do. You have to buy seedlings, right? You need to put them in place. You need to pay for all the security money I just mentioned. For you're looking at 1.5 to 2 million, right? That's perennial project for you. And every year you need to keep getting annual laborers till that thing start bringing out commercial harvests. So you're already looking at 500,000 almost every year or 7,000 every year of spending. If you're going to expend this much money, then don't joke and trivialize security. If you're going to bring insurance at all, a lot of people shout, do you have insurance? We have insurance, but not for everyone. Of course, our packages have different packages that have insurance and not. Now, insurance is good, but if you're going to miss one step in putting a very viable farm in place, insurance will not matter anymore. Because an insurance firm's duty, when they come to your farm, to inspect if that thing could have been avoided, they are going to check if you're careless. That's the summary of the truth. They can't check if you're careless. If you're careless for one bit alone, you will lose your insurance value. And this is why it's not about insurance. It's about you doing the right thing most of the time and spending and not being greedy with your project in the long run. But on the big sense, we have our own plans to manage it, and we can of course tell you all of them, and you yourself as an individual can put them in place yourself. There's no secret there. We need to help each other with information so that we can all have a successful farm. Right now, food are getting costly because a lot of farms are predisposed to security challenges in the north, and the north is the food basket of the nation, and that is why a lot of things are out of place. So if there's any way we can share the knowledge of safeguarding your farm, we want to share all of them as much as possible. So I think that as regarding security. I think someone asked about our expansion to other location. God knows we want to expand everywhere. God sees our hearts. We currently have over 250 acres already across Ogun and Osun states, but we want to be. Some states spoke to me about Oyo this morning, and we want to be there as well. But all these things comes at the price, at the cost. How much you can generate and how much you can generate through other people as well. These are things that determine how fast we move and spread across different locations. For now, we are heavily dependent on Southwest, and there are good reasons for that. Of course, as we expand, we'll touch other states and other locations within Ogun states. So, Mr. Daniel asks for PO, do we go into livestock as well? Yes, our farm business does livestock, but we do mini livestock. There's something called mini livestock, which is smaller livestock. An example of them is snail. Example is bee farming, duck farming, and bee farming. So, of course, our farmers can help you manage your piggery farm and put frameworks there to make it work. What that framework look like, of course, that is beyond the scope of this meeting, and then Mr. Inka will reach out to you privately to explain and break it down for you. Is there any plan for young farmers like us? Yes, a summit is coming up, as Mr. Adeniyi Samuel has put in the stuff, and it's targeted for youth 100%. I think with that, DG, over to you to wrap up the webinar.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you, everyone. But one thing I want to point to is that we have a webinar group on WhatsApp for a particular purpose, of course, aside educating everyone there, aside bringing everyone up to speed regarding the benefits of the agriculture sector. Also, we have that platform for you to do a message, drop some messages. And sometimes if you have a message to drop and the group is not open for open message, kindly message a group admin that I would love to ask a question in the group that will need answers to, and of course, the group will be open for you to drop your questions. The reason why we lock our webinar group on WhatsApp is because of spamming. We're trying to avoid those who come into this our groups to drop spamming message, which we cannot condone because we hold everyone in that particular webinar group of high esteem and we value your presence there. So we won't want anyone to come just spamming you. But please, if you have any questions, any idea, anything that is in your mind that you have to share with us, of course, be it in the midnight, be it in the afternoon, morning, just message and thing that you want to drop message in the group, and of course you'll be allowed to drop your message in that particular group. You understand? So that community is there for us to grow, to help you grow, for it to help you grow with us as a company. You understand? Because that is what we care about. Expanding the minds of youths and everyone in the Nigerian space and above and across the African continent and also the world at large. The benefits of our culture. That's what doing and continue doing. So thank you everyone. Special thank you to the speaker who has taken the time. He's in the farm right now, and he still show up because he cares so much about empowering the minds of everyone here. So thank you, Mr. Adeniyi Shoremi, for your time. Thank you, Mr. Lanika. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Mr. Luashio Benjamin. Thank you, Mr. Daniel Sasuna. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Mr. Joseph Abadijo. Thank you, Oduntom Muyo Sore. Thank you, Abdul Malik. Thank you, Oluwakemi. Thank you, General Samuel. Thank you, Mr. Sola. Thank you, Miss Mary. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. So we really appreciate everyone, please and please. Of course, your handlers, those who came in through to the company, let you know the company about, also get to reach out to you, either WhatsApp, through mail, or phone call. Please feel free to speak your mind relating to our product offering and also our farm business offering as well. We are always eager and ready to give you a lending hand and help to help you stand firm in that cultural space in general. So once again, I remain Adeniyi Shoremi, and I really appreciate everyone for being a partaker of this wonderful. It's our next webinar will be coming up tomorrow. It's going to be a very, very impactful webinar as well. We don't do small things, we do big things, and that's just it. You understand? So tomorrow, same time, 12. Of course, we'll have a webinar again tomorrow. So for now, bye everyone. Thank you for coming. We love you and we appreciate you. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.